Good morning, everyone. Aaron Sutton here with National Land Realty. This is our YouTube series, Buy Dirt. Today we're meeting with our local farmer. Been helping them do some cotton picking. But one thing we want to preface into is cotton season means cool weather. That means your bucks are chasing does, rut's getting into the full swing, but it also means that ducks are starting to migrate south from their summer home, basically. So today's episode is going to be on duck prep, how to prepare for the upcoming season. We're going to meet with one of our agents, Matthew Eakes. Matthew works the Hyde County, Beaufort, Terrell, Washington County areas, and he is a duck impoundment expert. This is all he does every day, just about, is build duck impoundments. And he is a turnkey operation from putting in pit blinds, to brushing blinds, to cutting ditch banks, to planting corn, cutting corn, whatever that you need done, he can get it done for us. So we're gonna meet with Matthew and see exactly what he does from a day-to-day perspective on prepping for duck season.
Hey guys, my name is Matthew Eakes, work with National Land Realty. A big part of what we do, managing impoundments and getting ready for season, is blind work. We build a lot of blinds and we install a lot of blinds. The two main blinds that we do is a stick-built blind, and we do pit blinds. There's two kinds of stick-built blinds that we do. One's kind of a low-profile A-frame blind, which is what's behind me. It does not have a roof. The wall in the front is pitched in so that the brush kind of lays on top of you and conceals you better. Another blind we do has got a roof. It's a lot wider, and depending on how many people you want to hunt out of it, it's how long we make the blind. Like I say, this is a four-man blind. It's low profile. It's got a very small porch on it. The dog will hide right there. 4 people will hide in here. A lot of times we'll put these across the V-ditch or tuck them back in the corn. We brush them with reeds a lot of times if we're putting them in a, in an ag field. The reeds, they blend in really well with the corn. And then, like I said earlier, the other blinds are pit blinds, and we'll go back and actually get some good shots of some pit blinds that we actually put in too. Another big part of my job is, like I talked about earlier, we do installing blinds. This is actually a pit blind. It's made out of steel. We get these out of Illinois. It's concealed comfort. By far, probably the best pit blinds on the market, along with some A-frame pits, but these are definitely our favorite. What we do is we come out here and get we take a whir line and get the laser out. We take a grade shot, and we come out and we put these within, depending on what a landowner wants, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches from, what the water line will be in this impoundment when it's flooded, to where it's going to be for the season. The way we do these, being that this one's got a top on it, we brush these with reeds on the top, and we come in with a bunch of hay and put on top of this just to hold everything together. It brushes in really well, and basically everybody's going to have their own section to come up out of. Just about this pit blind's location, a lot of times we have flyways or we have a hole in front of the blind. I got mixed feelings about both. I think in different places, flyways work better, and I think in some places that the holes work better. This one we actually decided to go with a hole because it's a part of the property where the ducks kind of favor on the back end. Instead of a flyway, we want them to kind of come to the hole that we got here. But that's enough talking. How about come in here and check it out? So what we did is we come out and we cut the hole out of this corn before it ever matured. So we got a nice clean hole. We got bridges coming off the dike to it. So, if we got older gentlemen or kids, it's easy access to get in. We do a lot of that stuff for a lot of different people. They have different preferences of, blind locations, not just because where the ducks are, but, getting people to the blinds. And, a lot of times we'll put a blind in the perfect spot, and we'll also have another blind that's easily accessible for, people that are up in age, and, kids that are hard to get all the way out to a blind that may be 200 yards off the dike or 100 yards. This is a good example of a cornfield that we plant. And we'll actually show you how we planted this one, and we actually mixed some moist soil management practices in with it, and how we mowed it to actually promote some invertebrate habitat. stuff for the bugs and stuff that the ducks want to eat. So here's our corn. We plant it on beds. It's so wet down here, we pull a bed and plant it on a bed just like what you would on a field to be able to harvest it. If you go over, we got managed moist soil. In this streak right here, being that this is managed moist soil, we can actually cut this with a mower and manipulate it. So all this good, duck food that's here can actually be cut down, so it's easier, for the ducks to actually get to it. By mowing it, what happens is when we mow it, it creates a lot of duff, and what it does is create horizontal cover for a lot of bugs underneath. So what we got is good food with carbs, keep the ducks warm if they need it. They got loafing area, a lot of moist soil grasses so that they can dabble in moist soil grasses, and if they're in the mood to have invertebrates under all this, they've got plenty of bugs to be able to eat as well. And of course, all this native grass, if you look, is just full of duck food, just sitting on the ground. And a lot of times what we'll do with moist soil is, being that you can manipulate that, we promote that where like the vines are gonna be and where you would want a flyway or where you'd wanna put your decoys out, so that you can have a good open hole where water is, instead of planting something like millet, because if you plant millet and you go through the whole stage of the growing season, you can't come in and mow that down legally, which I agree with completely. But if you can, this gives you a whole different way of managing, and it gives you the native grasses that they need. And like I say, there's a place to plant all this stuff in a different scenario to be able to do that, and where it's needed and where it's not. So that's a little bit about how much food, or what kind of food that we try to promote in our impoundments. And it's very neat to be able to manage all three aspects to come up with one good goal of having food across the whole board on that impoundment. Something else I found that I didn't find earlier, being this impoundment's pretty dry and had a fairly dry growing season, and we were able to keep the water pumped off of it, we didn't get to promote smartweed very much. It grows in damper soil, and I'm not saying our soil's not damp, it's just the plan here was to kind of get as much grass as we could possibly get. This is a great duck food, and by doing moist soil management, this still comes up in our grass crops. I mean, our moist soil managed acres that we want to be grass crops, basically. So it's basically, it comes up even where we did managing for one thing, we still got good food that comes along with it. And being that we were able to mow all this down, it'll be very easily accessible to the ducks, when we get water on this particular piece. One of the questions we get asked a lot is crops for ducks. What kind of food source would you recommend? A lot of it depends on the location. A lot of it depends on how early you want to flood. A lot of it depends on, the landowner's preference of what they want to hunt over, and what they'd like to see out of the hunt that they have. We're at an impoundment right now that we've talked about it briefly a few minutes ago, that we got it flooded in September. But I was able to get in it and pull out some of the duck food that we try to manage and promote to grow within our duck impoundments. A lot of people ask about the hot crops compared to moist soil crops or grass crops. They all have their place. We manage them, like I said just a minute ago, in different ways depending on the timing. But for us, what I like to do is the best of both worlds. We always got a grass crop. We have some smartweed, something that grows better in moist areas more. If we got a low place in the impoundment, we don't try to change it from what it produces and make it into something that is different, because a lot of times that duck wants that there. So the more food sources that we can provide, it's basically like a buffet that they can use, and they can have this today and have a different tomorrow, or if it gets colder, then they got their hot crops. But a lot of the reason for planting corn is because of what it provides with carbs. You know, when it does get cold, the ducks need this to stay warm, and they also use the crop, the corn stalk for thermal cover. They use that cover to get away from predators. It's very good to have in a duck impoundment. Sometimes it does create some night ducks, but a lot of times it's better to have it than to not have it, just to know that you have that staple and having those ducks there to know they have a good food source. We also do a lot of grass crops, a lot of millet. We do that. We do plant some sorghum, we do that for cover, but we do a ton of millet. And we also manage moist soil. Moist soil is basically promoting what's already there that exists, and we spray to manipulate that. We use disking, we use mowing to manipulate, and we do use fertilizer sometimes. That's only if we need it. But most of the time we can get a lot of your natural vegetation like Walters millet or wild millet, or barnyard grass, springle top, and volunteer millet, nut sedge. You can get your smart weeds to grow, and depending what time of year it is, depending what our weather's like, we go in there and make a decision whether we should mow it, whether we should disc it. Again, like I said, whether you should put some fertilizer down to promote that. And basically throughout your whole impoundment, you'll be, if it's done right, properly, you'll find crops like this across the whole thing, and they'll have everything that they need to winter here and be taken care of for the time that they stay on us.
Well, I hope that that episode was very knowledgeable for a lot of people. Matthew, he's a duck impoundment guru. He has his business, Whispering Woods Consultant, that he builds duck impoundments, plants them, everything that he just went over. Feel free to reach out to him if you have any questions, or any one of us National Land agents, and we'll kind of give you advice. We love to talk land, ducks, deer, whatever it might be, so please feel free to reach out to us. And again, subscribe, hit the button, and look forward to seeing you on episode 5. Let's go pick some cotton.